And that's why a smoker, he'll often be coughing up green or yellow lumps. And some people say he's got an infection. He hasn't got an infection. It's just cleaning up the damage from all those years of cigarette smoke. You see, your body can heal itself. My sister is a senior science teacher, and when she teaches immunology to her senior students, when she finishes, she says, see, the body is designed to heal itself. So when we've got any type of problem in the body, what makes sense is to boost your white blood cells. That makes sense, doesn't it? Now, one way to boost them is a fever. And fevers have been used for centuries to boost the white blood cells to clean up any problems that might be in the body. So at Misty Mountain Health Retreat, every afternoon our guests go into a steam sauna. And the steam sauna, usually the temperature sits at around 46 degrees, and you get very hot. And we give you a bucket of cold water with a little face cloth in it, and you can keep your head cool, because the only part of your body that doesn't like getting hot is your head, your brain. And about every 10 minutes, you can get out of that hot, run down the steps and dive into the mountain stream. And if you're not agile enough to run down the steps, there is a cold shower that you can do there. Some people say, cold shower? I said, you're wanting one because you get so hot. And then back in the steam bath, and you might do that for about another 10 minutes, and then charge out and dive in the cool pool again. You only need the cool for about 10-15 seconds, and then back into the hot sauna. Now, by the time you've been 10 minutes in the third session of heat, your body temperature is usually up to about 40 degrees. That's a fever, yeah? Now, when your body is up to a fever state, and remember, the only part of your body that doesn't like getting hot is your brain. And because you're running and diving in the mountain pool and then running back and keeping the head cool, your brain keeps quite good. So when your body temp gets up to 40 degrees, your white blood cells sometimes can triple. Your metabolic rate increases by 400%. Wow. Do you know what that means? Healing increases by 400%. Your blood's zooming around your body. Now, why is your blood the healer? Let's have a look at blood. Why is it the healer or the life of the flesh? It contains red blood cells and it contains white blood cells. And they're your white blood cells there. So what does the red blood cells contain? They carry oxygen. Oxygen, the most vital element needed for life. Cancer cannot live in the presence of oxygen. Makes a lot of sense to boost oxygen. Right? Red blood cells also carry your nutrients. They're carrying nutrients to the cell. Do you remember we've been looking at the CBD, the central business district of the human body, the inside working of the cells? What it is your blood that carries these nutrients and this oxygen to the cell. It also carries the water, and it also carries away the waste. Carries away waste. So no wonder it's called the life of the flesh. So let me explain to you what we did for the little boys, only 7, with the finger. I said, what have you been doing? She said, well, he's on his 2nd course of antibiotics. Well, this is 10 days on antibiotics. And I'm thinking, how could it have looked much worse than it is? Is it working? He's on his 2nd course of antibiotics. He's taking painkillers and sleeping tablets to sleep at night. Oh, he's 7. I'm not criticising the mother. What do you do? I said, can I try something? She said, please. So what I did was I got 2 mugs. And in one mug, I put hot water. Now, when you have a hot shower at night, and the last 2 nights when I've got home, I've had a hot shower and it almost hurts at first. I didn't realise how cold I got. And it's stimulating, yeah? It's very nice, because we're warm-blooded creatures, so how we love the warm. So the hot water, when you initially apply it to the human body, it has a stimulating effect. It stimulates. But I think it's probably only about 3 minutes before I'm getting very relaxed. Is that right? And everything's slowing down. It's like you get into a hot bath. At first it's tingling, and then you can just about fall asleep. Is that right? So after 3 minutes, we get to it's actually a depressed state of blood flow. Everything's slowing down, slow or depressed. And then I got a mug that had cold water in it. Now this is New Zealand, so we didn't have to put ice in it. If you're in Brisbane, you have to put ice in it. It's got to be very cold. The hotter the hot, the colder the cold, the more powerful the reaction. But I'm not going to make this little boy put that sore finger in very hot water. I get him to put his good finger on and get him comfortable with that, and then put the sore finger in. Ouch! I said, just keep dipping it. It's too hot. Okay, put a bit of cold in. You've got to work with the will of the person. When you put that finger in cold water, it stimulates. In fact, it's not unusual at Misty Mountain Health Retreat to hear screaming when people dive into the cold creek. Agreed? It stimulates. It takes 30 seconds once you're in the cold before we get to a depressed state of the blood. Everything starts to slow. So either called depressed or slow. It's a slowing down. So what I do is I put the finger in the hot for 3 minutes, and then I put it in the ice cold for 30 seconds. And while it's in the ice cold, I put a little bit of boiling water into the hot to bring it up to the hot. He's watching me, so I say, put your good finger in. Are you happy with that? Yes. Because I know once his finger's been in the cold, it'll handle more hot, numbs it a little bit. And then we keep it in the hot for how long? 3 minutes. And then before it's got a chance to slow down, we plunge it back into the cold. And then before it's got a chance to slow down, we plunge it back into the hot. Can you see what we're doing? And you usually do that 3 times. So how long did that take? That takes 10, 11 minutes. By the end of the second hot, a big smile came to the little boy's face. What's happening? He's getting relief. In fact, by the end of the 12 minutes, and he's got 50% reduction in his pain levels. Now that's quicker than Panadol, is that right? And we're not hurting his kidneys or his stomach or his liver. He's looking at me smiling, and he's looking at his mother, and then I wrapped the finger in a grated potato poultice. Potato reduces inflammation. Potato draws waste out. Every home has a potato wrap. So I made a little, like a package. You can watch my poultice lecture to see how to do that on YouTube. And then I'll put a bit of plastic over it and bandage it up and ask God to bless that finger, bless that poultice. Do you know, the rest of the morning while I'm talking to his mother, he's just smiling at me. Because he had so much relief. When they went home, he said to his mother, "Can we do that again?" Why did he say that? Because he'd experienced the relief. So I saw them at 10. We did it at 10 in the morning. They did it again at 2. They did it again, I think, just before he went to bed. And in the morning, when they took it off and took the poultice off, all the waste came out. The finger was back to normal. No need for any more painkillers. No need for any more sleeping tablets. And the mother said, "What will I do about the antibiotics?" I said, "I'll leave that up to you. I have no authority over what you do with that. All I can do is to tell you what I would do, and I don't usually have to tell people what I would do. So he got more relief with those simple treatments. What did I do? I boosted his immune system. I boosted his white blood cells because all I did was increase blood flow to that finger. And is your blood is your healer. That's the healer. So how important that you've got well-hydrated blood. How important that you've got good nutrients in that blood because you're eating a plant-based diet, lots of vegetables, greens, fruits, nuts, grains, legumes. How important that you are drinking adequate water. You just got to make sure that blood's good. Now, I could do those hot and cold treatments on a person who's not drinking water, not eating nourishing food, and will actually still get a result, but it's not going to be as good. How simple. You see, your blood is your healer. Not only does your blood contain all the nutrients that you need for healing, it also contains your internal army. Your immune system, so to speak, that will wipe out any harmful pathogens. In fact, our body's got everything we need for healing. One of the best blood cleansers that there is your greens. You see, the molecular structure of human blood looks like that, and the molecular structure of plant blood looks like that. Would you say that's almost identical? But with human blood, the middle structure is iron. With plant blood, the middle molecule is magnesium. That's the only difference. And things like green barley, spirulina, wheatgrass, they're one of the best blood and tissue cleansers there is. That chlorophyll has a great cleansing action on the body. So if the mother said to me, can we do something to even help the blood cleanse? I'd say, yeah, have a little green barley supplement. Green barley's not easy to take, but if you put it in lemon or grapefruit juice, it's a little bit easier. A little bit easier to take. So when someone says to me, I think my immune system was down, I've got a cold, do you know the immune system's high? Because when you get a cold and when you get a fever, your white blood cell count can almost triple. A cold is a house clean. It's just a house clean. And every time you blow your nose, what are you blowing out? Waste. Your body's cleaning the house. That's why they'll never find a cure for the common cold, because it's just one of the body's ways of getting rid of waste. But if you're drinking adequate water, if you're exercising every day, if you're eating a plant-based diet, we live in a self-healing, self-cleansing organism which will naturally be throwing off waste every day, and you rebound every day. You know what your rebounder is? That's your lymphatic stimulator. When you rebound every day, it's helping the body cleanse the tissues. You have a pump, it's called the heart, and it pumps blood all through the body. And you have a second heart. Do you wonder how the blood gets back to the heart? We've got a second heart, it's called your calf muscle. And to stimulate your calf muscle, all you have to do is that. That's why when you're sitting on the plane, they tell you to move your feet up and down, because it's stimulating your second heart, your calf muscle. And the exercise that stimulates your calf muscle better than any other exercise is rebounding, because you're constantly springing on that rebound mat. And it's the best cure for varicose veins, because the pump that gets your venous system working is the rebounder. It strengthens those calf muscles that are getting that blood back to the heart. Your capillary system has little muscles all around it, so when your heart pumps, those little muscles are pumping all the way through, and when you work your calf muscle, it's pumping it all back. But your lymphatic system does not have a pump. Let me draw your lymphatic system. It's like a lot of little canals, and they have gates. all the way along. And when you wake up in the morning, all those gates are shut. And when you get on the rebounder and you're jumping on the rebounder, when you're up to the height of the jump, every gate opens. When you hit the mat, every gate closes. When you hit the height, every gate opens. When you hit the mat, every gate closes. Can you see a pumping action happens? So remember what your lymphatic system, it's your body's vacuum cleaner. It sweeps away waste from the tissues. And when you rebound in the morning, you start up your lymphatic system. And all you have to do is walk from the kitchen to the lounge room, scratch your head. Just all these little activities keep that lymphatic system going all through the day. Eosinophils are a very interesting white blood cell because when you have an allergy, eosinophil levels can rise. So at Misty Mountain Health Retreat, I take a drop of blood, put it under the microscope, and it comes up on the screen. And it shows you all your white blood cells and all your red blood cells. And if a person has an allergy to wheat, dairy, you will see more eosinophils. So in that drop of blood, I should see about 2 eosinophils. And eosinophils you can tell because they light up like a little light on a Christmas tree compared to the other white blood cells that are a duller white. Because we have a dark field condenser, and so you've got a black background, so the white blood cells really light up. Now, if someone has 5 or 6 eosinophils, that's an indication that they are gluten sensitive. If they have 10 eosinophils, they are intolerant to gluten. If they have 16, 17, 18 eosinophils, they are celiac. So that's a severe intolerance. Some people, when I say, oh, you're gluten intolerant, they say, no, I've had a blood test. Or some people even have a biopsy of their colon, please don't do that, to test for celiac. And the doctor says, no, I'm not celiac. I said, no, you're not celiac, but you are gluten intolerant. Now, the test will never show the intolerance. It'll never show the sensitivity. So how can you tell? I've got a very easy way to tell. Stop all wheat for 2 months and see how you feel. How easy is that? See how you feel. You can have a slice of bread and it'll be out of your body in 24 hours. But the effect can remain for nearly 2 months. So you really have to stop it for 2 months. Don't start tonight. Don't start tomorrow. Don't start until your cupboards are well stocked. You can get some very nice gluten-free pastas now. San Remo, they've got a great section. It used to be that if you cooked gluten-free pasta, it just went like a lump of glue. But today you can get some very nice gluten-free pastas. Just go into the Asian section and you get rice noodles, rice vermicelli noodles. There's so many options today. And you can get spelt sourdough bread. If someone's celiac, they can't even handle that. Because as you'll see tomorrow night when we look at the acid alkaline lecture, the spelt has a little bit of gluten, but it's a less complex type. So usually people that are intolerant and sensitive can handle that one. It's a good idea to stop it all and then try introducing. So after 2 months, have a slice of bread, see what happens. The most common symptoms are actually brain fog and bloating. And how many people have that and think it's age? Have you heard of poor old age? It gets blamed for so many things. So we had this guy who used to be forgetting things all the time. I used to say to him, my friends blame the fact that they're 50. What are you going to blame? He was 18. And then we discovered he was gluten intolerant, and when he stopped the gluten, wow, he started to remember everything. Do you know, life should be good. Life should be very good. We've only got one life, and we should be enjoying every moment of it. Let me tell you the story of one man who I saw when I was in Bermuda in May. He came to see me because he found out he had eosinophilia. I said, oh, He said, what can I do? I said, do you know what a rise in eosinophils is caused from? A gluten and a dairy intolerance. I said, just stop the gluten and the dairy. He says, is that it? I said, yeah, but give it 2 months. I looked at the slide of one guy and he had 10 eosinophils, and I said, wow, you've got an intolerance. He said, this is ridiculous. He said, I haven't even been eating it. And then he went, oh, the muffin on the plane. That was enough to bring it all up. So what's the best way to boost your immune system? The best way to boost your immune system is have a quick cold shower at the end of every hot shower. How simple is that? And you'll get used to it and you'll go, don't worry about it. One lady said, Barbara, you say we've got to listen to our bodies, and my body says don't have a cold shower after the hot. It doesn't like it. You see, we're warm-blooded creatures. Of course we're not going to like it, but it's just brief. Won't kill you. And it actually won't make you cold. So every day at Misty Mountain Health Retreat, I run up hills. That boosts the immune system. I get quite hot. On my way back home, I've got a little bag near the creek, and I jump in the cold creek. In the winter, I'm in there 7 seconds. I'm not in there long enough to get a cold. Dive out. Yeah, I dive out as quick as I dive in. And people are getting colds all the way around me, and I don't get them. In fact, when I was at Misty Mountain 2 weeks ago, I got a cold for 4 hours. Don't you love it? I blew my nose and sneezed for 4 hours. How nice when that's all it is. But you can take some herbs that will really knock a cold on the head. And if you go to YouTube, Barbara Annual Poultices, in that lecture, I give a recipe for the flu bomb. Now, the flu bomb contains garlic, ginger, lemon, honey, eucalyptus oil and cayenne pepper. Got that? And if you take that 3 times a day, your cold will not last very long. Did you know that on the packet where the flu injections holds the flu injections, it states that this will not prevent the flu? So I do hope you don't have a flu injection, because it does have mercury in it. And we don't need to inject these things into our body, because the body's been designed to heal itself. And it will heal itself if you give it the right conditions. Are there any questions before we close?